Look at a map of the Western Pacific, and you'll find a small island sitting barely 180 kilometers off the coast of mainland China. Yet if a conflict starts on this specific piece of land, the global economy collapses. Two superpowers are currently moving military assets and drawing red lines over this territory, risking a global war. The question is why? The answer lies in how three entirely different forces collide in one place. Taiwan is trapped at the intersection of a decades-old blood feud, highly strategic geography, and a monopoly on the microscopic technology that runs the modern world. To understand how we got here, we have to rewind to 1949. China was tearing itself apart in a brutal civil war. On one side, you had the Communist Party, led by Mao Zedong, who eventually seized control of the massive mainland. On the losing side was the Republic of China government under Chiang Kai-shek. Outgunned, they fly across the water to the island of Taiwan. That escape created an extremely tense political reality. Suddenly, there were two separate governments, operating from two separate landmasses, each claiming to be the single legitimate ruler of all of China. Fast forward to today, and Beijing maintains a strict position. Taiwan is a rogue province. They consider reunification an absolute certainty, and Chinese leaders repeatedly state they will use military force to achieve it if necessary. Taking back this island represents a deeply emotional objective for the Chinese government. It is the final, unresolved chapter of their civil war, a national wound that Beijing insists must be closed. Geography introduces a much colder set of strategic stakes. Taiwan sits precisely between the Chinese mainland and the open waters of the Pacific Ocean. The U.S. maintains alliances with Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, forming a physical wall, the first island chain, restricting the Chinese Navy. If Beijing takes Taiwan, they break that chain, gaining unrestricted access to deep Pacific waters to project power far beyond their coastlines. For the United States, keeping Taiwan out of Beijing's hands is the primary way they prevent China from dominating the entire Pacific region. The island's most critical defense mechanism, however, is entirely invisible to the naked eye. Taiwan holds a near-total monopoly on the manufacturing of advanced semiconductors. These are the computer chips required to run smartphones, process artificial intelligence algorithms, build electric cars, and guide precision missiles. The vast majority of the world's highest-tier chips are manufactured by a single corporation located right here, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC. This extreme concentration of production creates what experts call the silicon shield. If an invasion shuts down these fabrication plants, the global supply of advanced tech vanishes overnight, freezing entire industries worldwide. This forces America to walk a delicate diplomatic tightrope. The U.S. officially recognizes Beijing as the government of China to maintain political peace, but simultaneously sells billions in weapons to Taiwan to ensure those chip factories stay secure. By monopolizing the essential component of modern life, Taiwan effectively holds the global economy hostage, compelling Western powers to guarantee its survival. So what actually happens if an invasion begins? First, financial markets crash globally as investors realize the technology supply chain has been severed. Then, the military dominoes fall. The geographic proximity of the conflict means regional defense partners, particularly Japan and South Korea, are instantly pulled into the crisis. Finally, the United States has to decide whether to intervene directly to protect its strategic anchor in the Pacific, bringing American and Chinese forces into open combat. We are looking at a flashpoint that guarantees a direct, kinetic collision between the two largest nuclear-armed superpowers on Earth. The extreme danger comes from the opposing motivations. China is fighting to reclaim what it views as rightful historical territory. America is fighting to hold a crucial line of naval defense. Because of those colliding interests, the future balance of global power rests almost entirely on the fate of this specific 36,000 square kilometers of land. The conflicts of the past century were fought over sprawling land borders and access to massive fossil fuel reserves. The next global conflict will be fought over microscopic circuitry, invisible lines of naval influence, and absolute control over the silicon shield.